Hi, welcome to the EcoHeidi Show. I'm Heidi Borchers. Today's theme is EcoHome. It's things to make for your home out of recycles. First off, we're going to show you what to do with some old sweaters, upcycling old sweaters into a famous Mama Aline technique, making a really cool flower. It's got a wire edge and it's lots of fun. And Candace Jedowitz loves the Aline's Burnt Brown bag. Her project for EcoHome is burnt glue art canvas with cardboard. I also have a project made out of soda cans. Soda cans are my favorite medium in recycling. I love to work with them. This one I've never shown you before, but it's sculpturing the soda can to make a wonderful sculpture for your home. And last but not least, we're going back to the plastic drink containers. I'm making a room divider, and it is so cool just to hang it from a curtain. You're going to love it. I'll be right back. Home, EcoHome. You know, I haven't really shown you a lot of things to do for your home. Really, we've been doing jewelry, we've been doing things for kids. But I thought it'd be really cool to take things and show them how to use them for your home. And they're really nice looking. I have all kinds of fabrics and all kinds of sweaters. I think we all do it. And I travel to the thrift shop a lot. And so I thought, well, Mama Aline years ago had this pattern where she made this wire frame and she glued it over like ribbon and silk. And actually that's how she got started with her glue, is she was gluing wire over silk and they needed the glue to glue the wire. So I changed it up a little bit, went to my recycle box, and also found some fabric that I used to recover some chairs. So take a look at what I made. To make these cool retro flowers, I've chosen the Aline's Tacky Packs. They're fun because they give you an assortment of different glues to try. On this particular tacky pack, it has the Aline's Turbo Tacky Glue, the Aline's Clear Gel Tacky Glue, and the Aline's Super Thick Tacky Glue. I've chosen the Aline's Turbo Tacky Glue today because it cuts the drying time by more than 50%, and it dries clear and it's flexible. So it's a great glue to use for this project because we are going to make it bend and shape. I also have some cool fabrics that I've used. This one I used on recovering a chair, and these are both from sweaters. So I'm actually upcycling some of the fabrics that I have. So you want to take your wire, it's an 18 gauge wire, and you're going to wrap it around something, and this is just a plastic cap, and then you're going to twist it at the bottom to create your petal. And you need 5 petals for each of the flowers. Then you take your Aline's Turbo Tacky Glue and put it onto the back side of your petal. Make sure that it's a continuous line of the glue, because if you have any gaps, then it'll make a difference when you go to bend your petals, that the fabric won't have a gap in it. Place the glue side down on your fabric, and if you put this end here at the end of the fabric, it's a little bit at the bottom of the fabric, it's a little bit easier to cut out. The glue dries clear, but I do try and take the excess out of the center. And then just let it dry. This one's already dried, and I think it dried for probably maybe an hour. And just simply cut out really close to the wire. you go in on this side, it's a little hard with your scissors, so go back, turn it over, and cut it from the back. Now this is the way that it was made when Mama Lean made it. They just put it like this. I liked the look where I can add just a little bit more color. So I add another one behind. So again, we're going to use some of the Aleene's Turbo Tacky Glue. Put on the back edge. And put it down onto my sweater fabric. Again, keep your edge here down at the end, and then you don't have as much to cut off. And cut it a little bit larger. And there you have your first petal. Now again, do it to all 5 petals. I have 5 of them ready here. And we're going to take them and put them together. And also notice that I bent down my wires a little bit to put them into the flower shape. And I'm using some florist tape. Now florist tape you have to stretch for it to stick to itself. It's a wax tape. And catch all those petals together. Make sure you shape them the way you want. And then I have a skewer, just a wooden skewer stick, if you wanted to add it to make it where it has a stem. If you just want to put it on a tabletop, that's fine. Just you don't have to add anything to it. And again, just tape it a little bit until you can catch that skewer stick. And that's the beginning of our flower. Now we can bend our petals up a little bit. I'm going to set that aside for a second because we're going to make the center. Now this again is a sweater fabric that I chose to use for the center. What I did is I put some of the Turbo Tacky Glue, the Aleene's Turbo Tacky Glue, all the way around, and that way it held it together for me. And then I took a gathering stitch and just stitched it all the way around. And I'm going to put a little bit of fiber fill inside. And it's just like making a yo-yo, except for we've got a little bit extra stuffing that makes it more round like a ball. And I'm going to just stitch that so it holds tight. And then do a knot. Oops, there's a side that's out too far and I want to make sure that it's stitched in, so we'll just stitch it. Cut off your thread. You know, it never hurts to put a little bit of the tacky on a knot. So we're using, again, the Aleene's Turbo Tacky Glue to put on that knot. Now this is going to go, it's going to glue on the center. So again, we'll put some Now also, if you want to cover the stem, you can always cover it with a strip of fabric. And just wrap it around. And you go all the way down. Now I want to show you my flower because I added a little bit more to my flower. I took some other fabric that I had and I just cut it into, kind of fringed it, and before I actually put on the little yo-yo center, I glued some of this to the back of it. Also, I thought it was fun, and I just kind of stuck these in. These are just some 24 gauge wire. I just twisted them and I just stuck them in. They could have a little bit of glue on them. Now, for the leaf, you would do the same thing as the petal. I shaped my leaf just by first bending it in half and then just doing all kinds of just bends and twists. Put it down on your fabric, and this is what you have for the leaf. Then on the very last thing, I put some of the Turbo Tacky glue, the Aleene's Turbo Tacky glue, on the center, and I just dropped in some beads. So here's what I can see. I can see a lot of these, like a group of them with long stems, maybe a little bit larger. I have a really large vase on my fireplace. I think these would look fabulous on. Next, Candace Jedwich. You know, she loves the Burnt Brown Bag by Aleene. And she made a really cool, it's a canvas burning glue with a little bit of cardboard. Candace, what are you up to?
Hi Heidi! Hey everybody, welcome back to my studio of Perpetual Mojo. Today's project is very exciting, very colorful, and I think you're going to like it. Sit back and relax, hold on to your seats, because it's all happening right now. I started with a 6x6 canvas. You can do any size as long as you're doing a little bit at a time when you start the burning. And this is just some leftover cardboard from packing. And I've already cut a design out here, and I'll show you how that goes in a minute. The first thing you want to do is, and this is my great big tub o tacky glue, seal your canvas. You can see that this has some gray in it, and that's because I only use this for burnt brown bag. Work it in real good. You don't want to have your canvas catch on fire, because that would be a bad thing. You don't have to do the back unless you want to, but you want to make sure and do the sides. It's okay if you have a little too much. You don't want to have so much that it's going to drip. And while you've got this all primed, go ahead and put your design on. You want to glue both sides. Stick it down on there pretty good. I'm just dipping my fingers in the glue. That's the fastest way. And these are just random shaped stripes. On the other pair of canvases I have some curvy stripes. There you go. And the last one. move this one over just a little bit. Yeah, like that. And then put your dots on. Okay, I like the way that looks. Now you're going to set it aside to dry. Here's one that's already dry with the wavy lines. The reason that you want to have it dry completely is because these are small pieces of cardboard, you'll end up just tearing them off or pushing them along with your brush if you try to do it while it's still wet. What you do want to try to do is go into the edges of the cardboard as much as you can. You don't have to do it all the way, but again, this is just another way to seal the paper so it doesn't catch fire. Let's get started with our candle. If you've never done this before, it is just the coolest thing. You'll want to do small areas at a time, and you want to make sure that the candle, I'm going to try to show you this way, whoops, the flame is actually touching the glue, and the glue does need to be wet. There we go. Okay, so you can see that holding it into the flame begins to burn the glue. And what it will do is bubble and crack. Let's see if I can get it to do that for you. Okay, like that. It's going to bubble. It's a little harder to do sideways, but you get the idea. So you're going to burn it until it's black. And I have one finished right here. This is what it looks like when you're done burning it, and what you want to do is take off the soot. So you can use a wet cloth or a dry cloth, whatever you want to use. Alright, that looks wonderful. You will want to clean your hands off before you move on to the powders. I'm all ready to start adding color here. And since I did blue and copper and gold on this one, I'm going to do green and copper and gold. Ooh. Oh, I like that. You can go out onto the sides with this color if you like. It all depends on the look you're going for. Now I'm going to hit it for a minute with the heat gun. And it is going to blow some away. Okay. Looks like it grabbed that color. Take off any of the excess powder. You can seal this too. That would be just fine. And the last little bit of color is gold leaf. Rub and buff. And I'm not going to cover all of the copper with it, but I do want my dots to be gold. I want them to really stand out. Okay, then I'm going to go along the edge and kind of pull it back toward me. Go along the edge. Oh, might need a little more there. Yeah, that's better. I love the way these are going to look together on the wall. And I'll face them each a different way. I'll have 4 pieces, and they will be colorful and rustic and gorgeous. You know I'm all about color, but those canvases would stand on their own with the burnt brown bag treatment. They're just extraordinary, and I love experimenting. That's probably one of my favorite subjects to experiment on. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you're inspired to try something like it, and that if you do try it, I get to see it. Email me, Candace@cool2craft.com, and I'll post it on our website. Thanks a lot for having me, Heidi. Stay crafty, my friends.
Thanks, Candace. You know, the Aleene's burnt brown bag has been very versatile over the years, but you have taken it to a whole new level. It looks fabulous. Talk about versatile. Soda cans. I love soda cans. I love the colors of them. I love to create with them. I have a whole line of jewelry that I've made out of soda cans. I love to cut them. And you know, the funny thing, I don't even drink soda, but I love to use them. I have friends that actually drop them off at my front door so that I can create with them, or sometimes I just go buy them and I just pour them out. So take a look at what I came up with, this fabulous sculpture. To make this project, you're going to need a couple of the aluminum soda cans. And all I do is take a craft knife, poke it into the can, and cut off the top and the bottom. And so when you're done, you'll have pieces like this. So I put my fish pattern onto the inside of the can and take a stylus and outline it. And then just cut it out. And I'm using just dollar store scissors because I can use them for a while, and then when they get where they're dull, I just throw them away. But they cut really easily. And make sure you try and get all of your edges pretty smooth. So what that means is when you're cutting, try not to chop cut. Do your cuts in longer. If you go around corners and inside curves and you keep it where it's in one motion, then you don't get the choppy cuts where then you'd have like little edges that would cut. And I've noticed with cutting soda cans, as long as you don't have any pointed edges, everybody always asks me for jewelry, isn't it sharp? As long as you don't have any pointed edges, then if someone touches it, it's not sharp. Just curve all your edges. And here I notice I have a little place that I have a little piece sticking out. I want to make sure that nothing's going to hurt you. Okay, this is going to be the front side of our fish. Now we want to make sure that it's, before I go to kind of emboss it, make sure it's a little bit straighter. And as I emboss it, it does flatten out. Okay, on the background here, I have some craft foam. I like to use the craft foam because it gives me a surface that gives a little bit of pull and push so that it's soft so I can emboss. I'm using my stylus again, and what you do is just go and put your eye. Okay, so we have it all on the silver, completely embossed on this side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over, and we're going to go over, and this pushes it out on the other side. So to color him, I'm going to use the alcohol inks. I've put a covering over the foam, and just drop the alcohol inks. And they spread a little bit, and then you can also use a brush. And if you mix them, you can see you're getting different colors. Between the blue and the green, you're getting some different colors. And that's what you want. Next thing we can do is we can take some of the scraps that you cut from, and you can make the seaweed. Or just just start with another piece. But you're going to do the same thing. You would emboss them the same way. And I have a little piece here already embossed for a little piece of seaweed. And I take just a piece of skewer stick, and I'm going to glue it to the back. Usually I just put a little bit there, put it on, and I use a clothespin to hold it until it dries. Now for the base, I took a can and I just put it on the ground and I smashed it down. And it doesn't bother me that it has a little rip there, that's okay. So in order to put all the pieces into the base, I just put a little, kind of figure out where I want my seaweed, and put a little bit of glue on the end of this, and then it would go into this hole like that. Let me show you my final piece. Okay, here's the piece, and you can see my base now. I also covered it with the alcohol inks, and I came back with a little bit of a silver, I sponge painted a little bit of a silver acrylic paint on the base. And here's my seaweed, and on this particular seaweed, the tall one, I just glued the fish to the tall one, again using a clothespin until it dried. Super simple to do, and look how pretty it is. I just love all the different things that I can do with soda cans. Their colors are just absolutely amazing. And when you add the alcohol inks to it, you just have an endless amount of decorations that you can make. So choose your own decor and just go to it and recycle with the soda cans. Now, my next project is out of the plastic drink bottles. This plastic drink bottle, a friend of mine brings these all the time, and they have kind of a pattern on the side, and so she brings me about every other week. She brings me a bag full of these, and I looked at them and I thought, well, those are really cool, and I wanted to do something home decor. So I thought, with all these different shapes, why not make a room divider? So take a look. For this project, I chose this drink bottle that has all this cool embossing design on it. It really is a neat design, and what's really funny is it's usually covered with a label so you don't even get to see it. But I like it because it has so much design on it. We're going to use the bottom of the bottle, and we're going to use the sides of the bottle. You could also use some of these pieces. And I always save the top of the bottle for other things, so don't throw it away. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take off the bottom. And I just take a craft knife, and a sharp one is good, and just poke it in and cut. And then cut off right above the embossed area that we're going to use here. This part is a little bit tougher, but it still cuts with a craft knife. Now, if you have any of the labels still on it, if you use one of those label removers, it works really well. And I notice I still have a little bit of water. Make sure that your plastic is clean. And then just simply cut this apart. And again, you're going to cut as many apart as how big you want it. And I just rounded the edges on these pieces. And then just trim the bottom of your cap just a little bit to get a nice straight edge. And we're going to drill a hole in the side. Go this way. And then opposite. So you want your hole where it's the opposite each other. And then on these pieces, instead of drilling them, I just paper punched them with a 1/8" paper punch. Next, we're going to paint them. Now, the bumped out or the raised edge is going to be the right side, so we're going to turn it over and paint it. And I just take acrylic paint and just a cosmetic sponge and just paint the inside. And it usually takes a couple coats. And you do the same thing with the bottom. Make sure you get into all the edges and just paint. let it dry, and then give it a second coat. Now, I want to show you before I move on, if you wanted to put more detail in it, you could actually, on the inside here, you could put like different colors. You could actually get really intricate, get different colors in here, and then let them dry and then paint it black. Because when you turn it over, it's all it shows is the black. So all my pieces are painted. I've got the bottoms, I've got the sides, and then you can also use the cap. So the next thing you need to do is just decide where you want the different things. This one there. Make sure that you have your punched or your drilled. And then just start taking, you can take wire, and this particular one is a 22 gauge wire, and maybe about an 8-inch piece. Curl it. I just take some needle nose. And I just want a spiral on this first one. And you can do it as big as you want. And just come up through. And usually what I like to do is bend this back and then bring the wire kind of through like that and go back up. Now you can add beads to it if you want. This project's really fun too because there's so many things you can do, so many ways you can do it. You can do it with wire. You're not limited. Just use what you have in the colors that you want. And let's see if I have another one here. I got a whole bunch of beads and jars over here, so I have a big choice to choose from. Now again, I probably would kind of bend this over. I want those to stay there, so I'm going to loop it. And this is really creating as I go. Now, this is probably going to be the top of my my piece, so I'm going to leave this long enough so that I can put it over. You'd be putting it over like a maybe a dowel stick, a 1/2-inch dowel stick, or perhaps a curtain rod. So leave this part this long, and this is what you can put over that. Now I found in the in-between, I like these little doves. I found them on my shelf, and I actually bought them at the dollar store. They're in the wedding department. They have a hole in the bottom, and I just took and drilled them all the way through so I could use them as bead. So again, we can put some beads. And let's get one more big one here. Now to end this, you're going to bend it over. I'm going to cut off a little bit and twist that into a loop. And that's going to be my bead in between this and the bottom of the jar. So if I want to connect them with wire, again, anything goes here. You could take jump rings if you wanted to, if you wanted to do another spiral, you could do that. And you just connect everything together. I add a little loop there. That loop can hook onto my little bird. And use what you have. And then this can come through that hole that I did before. And again, I can make another spiral, or I can just twist it. And put a twist to hold it right there. And then go up into a spiral. And this one, I think I don't want it quite as long, so I'm going to cut it off a little bit. Save all these pieces of wire too, because you can use them as little hooks and jump rings and such. So I'm going to create another little spiral. I always like to get them started, and then I can do the rest of them with my fingers. And then that would hook together to this other little piece, just like that. You just continue to put them all together using what you have, using the caps. Maybe this one would have a next one, when you go to put them on, and maybe it would have a cap here, but just keep hooking them all together. And let's take a closer look, because in the center of them in the center of the round of the bottom ones, I used the flat marbles, and you can get these in a really cool white and black. And then I also, on the cap, I put a flat marble, and I took little pieces of mirror and cut them up and put them around to give it a little bit different texture and color, so it kind of sparkled. On the pieces that were the flat with the embossing, I found some really cool mirror pieces that I just glued on them. You can use anything you want. Use what you have. And of course, again, the color scheme, I kind of kept to the white and the black and silver tones. Super simple, and make it as big or as small as you want, and have fun. Can you believe how versatile this one plastic drink bottle is? And think about how you can make it so much larger. I just made it small. I just made it like a mobile. But you could make it room size. You could make it for a window. Just do it like a valance. And think about all these plastic bottles not going into the landfill too if you put it into your home. I think it's really cool. Now, don't forget to join us on Facebook at cool2craft.com, because we're always there chatting up what we're up to. Be sure you visit us at cool2craft.com, because that's where all the instructions are, our videos, and all the information of upcoming and past shows are on cool2craft.com. So that's it for today. Don't forget to creative recycle. See you next time. Bye-bye.